The war between humanity and the Zarathian Empire had raged for decades. A reptilian species with iridescent scales and a matriarchal hierarchy, the Zarathians viewed humans as inferior, soft, emotional, and fractured by individualism. But when a rogue Zarathian fleet began attacking neutral colonies, the Galactic Union intervened, demanding negotiations. Enter Yarrick Voss, a hardened human diplomat known for his unorthodox tactics. Scarred by the loss of his homeworld to Zarathian orbital strikes, Yarrick had no love for the Empire. Yet he was tasked with brokering peace with their most formidable leader, Queen Zalara, the youngest and most rebellious monarch in Zarathian history. Zalara's reputation preceded her. She had slaughtered her own mother to claim the throne, defied ancient traditions, and openly criticized the Empire's warmongering. When Yarrick arrived on her flagship, the Obsidian Crown, he expected hostility. Instead, he found curiosity. "Your union thinks sending a male will placate me?" Zalara hissed, her serpentine eyes narrowing. Her tail lashed behind her, a sign of irritation. Yarrick stood firm. "They sent me because I don't placate. I negotiate." The tension between them was electric. Zalara's guards bristled, but she raised a clawed hand, silencing them. She circled Yarrick, studying him. Humans were rare in Zarathian space, and his defiance intrigued her. "Your species claims to value life," she sneered, "yet you cling to pathetic emotions like mercy." "Mercy isn't weakness," Yarrick countered. "It's what keeps us from becoming tyrants." Zalara laughed, a low, rumbling sound. "You speak boldly for someone in my territory." The negotiations stretched for days. Yarrick learned that Zalara's rebellion was a calculated gambit. She sought to dismantle the Empire's old guard, who clung to endless war. But her people's biology demanded conquest. Zarathian queens required genetic material from worthy males to produce heirs, a process that fueled their aggressive expansion. On the third night, Zalara cornered Yarrick in the ship's arboretum. "Your union demands a ceasefire," she said, "but my people will starve without new territories. Our queens require conquest." Yarrick's gaze didn't waver. "There's another way." "You presume much, human." Her voice dropped, almost playful. "Your union's terms are meaningless unless—" She leaned closer, her breath warm against his neck. "You offer something personal." Before Yarrick could react, Zalara seized him. Her claws tore his shirt, revealing the scars beneath. But her touch wasn't violent, it was probing. Zarathian queens could sense genetic potential through physical contact. To her shock, Yarrick's DNA was compatible. No alien species had ever triggered the Zarathian reproductive response. Yet here was a human, of all creatures, whose bloodline held the resilience her dying empire needed. Zalara recoiled, hissing in confusion. Yarrick smirked. "Problem, Your Majesty?" Zalara's discovery upended everything. Zarathian law forbade interspecies breeding, but her science advisors confirmed Yarrick's viability. If she conceived a hybrid heir, it could destabilize the traditionalists and cement her reforms. She confronted Yarrick at dawn. "You will submit to the blood right," she demanded. "Submit?" Yarrick crossed his arms. "You'll have to ask nicely." The blood right was a sacred Zarathian ritual where queens extracted genetic material through a venomous bite. Most males died from the toxin, but survivors sired strong offspring. Zalara had never performed it, her previous consorts were deemed unworthy. "This is not a request," Zalara growled. "Your DNA is adequate. Refuse, and your colonies burn." Yarrick weighed his options. Agreeing risked death, but succeeding could end the war. "Fine. But if I survive, you cease all attacks on human territories." Zalara's tail twitched. "Agreed." The ritual chamber was dim, lit by bioluminescent fungi. Yarrick stood shirtless as Zalara circled him, her claws tracing his chest. "Your fear scent is faint," she noted. "I've faced worse," he said, thinking of his dead family. When she struck, her fangs pierced his shoulder. Fire surged through his veins. Yarrick collapsed, muscles seizing, but refused to scream. Zalara watched, torn between fascination and dread. No male had ever endured the venom this long. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the pain receded. Yarrick gasped, alive. Zalara stared. Impossible. He grinned weakly. "Told you, we're resilient." News of Jarek's survival spread like supernova radiation. Traditionalist Zarathians called it heresy, while Zalara's followers hailed it as a sign of evolution. The queen herself was conflicted. The blood right bonded her to Yarrick psychically, a side effect of human neurochemistry. She felt his emotions, his grief, his determination, even his grudging respect for her. Meanwhile, Yarrick noticed changes. His senses sharpened, he could understand Zarathian dialects without translation. Zalara's scientists theorized the venom had altered him, merging their biologies. When Zalara confirmed her pregnancy, chaos erupted. The empire fractured. Warlords accused her of corruption, while rebel factions rallied to her banner. Yarrick, now a political prisoner in all but name, became her reluctant advisor. "They'll come for you," he warned as they reviewed battle plans. Zalara's hand rested on her abdomen. "Let them. My heir will unite the clans. Or get us both killed." She smirked. "You fear death, human? I fear wasting my life on your ego." Their arguments were frequent, charged with a tension neither acknowledged. But when assassins breached the ship, Yarrick fought alongside her guards, saving her life. Afterward, Zalara confronted him. "Why risk yourself?" He shrugged. "The kid's half-human. That makes them my responsibility." The warlords attacked in force. Zalara's fleet was outnumbered, but Yarrick proposed an alliance with the Galactic Union. "They'll never trust you," he said, "unless you surrender the border systems." Zalara bared her fangs. "You overreach, human." "It's a gesture," he snapped. "Show you're serious about peace." Reluctantly, she agreed. The Union sent reinforcements, including a human admiral named Tarek Vorn. Skeptical but pragmatic, Vorn respected Jarek's tenacity. The battle was brutal. Zalara commanded from the bridge, her pregnancy slowing her movements but not her resolve. Yarrick fought on the front lines, his enhanced body cutting through Zarathian rebels. When the tide turned, Zalara's forces triumphed. The surviving warlords knelt, swearing fealty to her heir. That night, Zalara found Yarrick in the arboretum. "You fought well," she said stiffly. "So did you." Silence lingered. Then, impulsively, she grasped his arm. The bond, it grows stronger. Yarrick tensed. He'd felt it too, a pull toward her, beyond logic. "What happens now?" "The Empire is mine," she said. "But the heir, our heir, will need you." The child was born during a starfall storm. Hybrid and healthy, with Zalara's scales and Jarek's eyes. They named her Nirala, meaning convergence, in Zarathian. Nirala's birth shattered ancient prejudices. Traditionalists grudgingly accepted her, while Union ambassadors marveled at her potential. Zalara, now empress, abolished the old conquest laws, replacing them with trade alliances. Yarrick remained on the Obsidian Crown, a bridge between species. His relationship with Zalara evolved into mutual respect, and something deeper, though neither spoke of it. At Nirala's first public appearance, Zalara addressed the crowd. "This child is proof that strength lies not in purity, but in adaptation." Later, Yarrick found her alone, cradling Nirala. "You did good," he said. Zalara's tail coiled around his leg. We did. The galaxy remained uncertain, but for the first time, hope flickered in the dark. The end.